This podcast is part of the Everyday Heroes Podcast Network, the network for first responders and those who support them.
Okay, here's another episode, Scissors and Scrubs, or should we say rewind to the 80s we're going to be doing.
We asked.
You voted.
Mm-hmm. And Summer in the 80s won for our repeat episode.
And the reason we're doing a repeat is both of us have sons graduating.
Mm-hmm.
Both of us have sons who decided to join the Navy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we are both completely fucking overwhelmed. So
There's a lot going on.
It has been 4 years. We may have done one repeat once.
Did we?
I don't even know. I think we did repeat once, but it was for a pertinent reason we repeated.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a filler in between week.
Right. We've never missed bi-weekly.
There's just no way we can get everything done because they both also decided to bump up their ship out dates.
Yes. Yeah. They couldn't wait to leave us.
Yes. So everything got accelerated and we're just really fucking busy.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure our episodes come to you with the highest quality as we've so come accustomed to.
So accustomed
to our high quality.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to let you do a little Summer in the 80s.
Yeah. Nice throwback.
God, I actually almost want to do a part 2 of this because I had so much fun doing this episode.
I loved this episode.
I had so much fun. This is one of my favorite episodes. I'm not going to lie. So we hope you enjoy it.
Yep.
You got anything you want to add to that, Laura? You want to get your pink boombox and do some choreographed dances?
I had a pink...
I know you did.
And I sat on my front porch and me and my sister and Katie would just be out there dancing away.
All right, listen, go take a sip out of the hose, go ride in the back of the truck.
Yes, have fun.
And we'll catch up with you in a week or two or whatever it is and enjoy the summer series.
Yep. Bye.
So welcome back again to another episode, summer series episode of Scissors and Scrubs. World famous, world renowned. Everybody wants some. So we figured we'd kick off the summer series in full after interns with Summer in the 80s. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Back we go. When boys wore tube socks up to the knees, gym shorts with the white trim, and half shirts, and a full-blown mullet.
And not neon.
REO Speedwagon. Big. My husband, Mr. 1984, REO Speedwagon, half shirt.
Nice.
Rocking it like
Did he have like a blonde mullet thing with the 3 stripes shaved into the side?
He was a redhead, so you couldn't. His hair was wild. So it was a buzz cut. It was a whiffle, as we called them back in the 80s. All the boys had whiffles. In the whiffles, or they wore huskies. Remember huskies? My brother was a husky boy, so he had to wear huskies because they were for the kids who were just a little heavier. Yeah, huskies. So life in the 80s in the summer. What's your best summer memory? Or some. Give me,
4th of July was always my favorite.
4th of July.
My favorite holiday. 3rd and 4th. They shut down the park in Malden, and my aunt lived like right across the street from it, and we would all go down there on the 3rd of July. They would do lip sync contests in the street. They would shut down the street, do lip sync contests, and then they'd have a DJ, and they had like a dance party out in the street. Yep. And then the next one, you go back wicked early, and you'd get a goodie bag out of the dugout at the park, and then you would have beauty contests. Little Miss Maplewood.
Note she pointed to herself at that time.
It was either me or Heather. Yeah. Every year it was me or Heather, my cousin.
He's sleeping with the judges?
Yeah. We were the prettiest girls in Maplewood. They had beauty contests. They had 3-legged race. Also, Heather and I won first place every year. We ran it.
Well, you and Heather was something.
We were. Egg toss, basketball toss. They had a race like around the street on like a mile-long race. And then for the younger kids, they had like 20-yard dash, 40-yard dash, 60-yard dash. They had contests all day long. Then you'd go to my aunt's and you have like, food and whatnot. It was the best. And then we'd go up Everett, like to the Project Hill or the Hospital Hill and watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
It was just fun. Like it was just so much fun. I just love it.
Revere used to do fireworks down at the stadium.
Oh yeah.
And like you could just never pull this off today. And they would just have rows and rows of crazy ass fireworks that would go off, and you'd sit in the bleachers and watch the fireworks. And I just love this summer. In fact, we're recording on a night. It's my summer day. Yes. Like it's hot. I love hot summer nights. That's when you'd ride like in the back of your cousin's pickup truck, or you remember riding on the hump? in the car?
Yes.
The cars don't have humps anymore.
No,
like,
they
no,
don't have
I'm not
humps.
sitting on the hump. No, I got the hump. It'd be in pickups or convertibles. No seatbelts in the
No.
convertibles, you know.
My father had an MG. It was a 2-seater. He had me and my sister.
Oh,
One of us was on the box in the back. Like, what?
You're
It was
always
the
in somebody's
car
lap.
this big going
Yeah.
up the highway to New Hampshire. I can't.
we used to be able to wear, like, do you remember the little jumpers that girls used to wear? They were one pieces and they had the tie strings on
Yes.
the shoulders.
I loved those.
Sometimes they were terry cloth.
Yes.
Sometimes they were ribbed in the middle. Oh, if I could get away with that outfit now,
know.
I would. I loved
If I
those.
could get a
My ponytails. I thought I
terry
was
cloth
like
jumper that tied
friggin'
it-
Farrah
I have-
Fawcett.
I think all my pictures in the summer have me in a jumper with the ties
The-
on the shoulder.
The ties, and they were always terry cloth. And I thought that one summer, this is bringing back so many memories. My mother got me blue satin shorts. I thought I was the fucking cat's ass in those shorts. I think I never took them off all summer. I was like, yeah, I got my blue satin shorts
Satin
on.
shorts.
Oh yeah, I was one hot shit. I think I was all of 9.
Yeah.
Who didn't want some of this at 9?
God.
And my blue satin short. It had a white shirt that matched. That had stars that were like blue satin.
I bet.
Man, I was something.
You were.
And then just being at the pool at night when you'd swim in the pool at night, and
My nanny had a pool in her backyard, and my family doesn't come from money. And we always went to the MDC. So you always went to the public
community
pool.
pools.
All summer, you were at the MDC. You were at Revere Beach or the MDC. And then my grandmother got a pool, an in-ground pool.
Ooh.
So all of my mother's 155 cousins would be at my grandmother's pool all day, every day. And we'd be there. We practically lived there in the summer anyways. And we would, at night though, my sister and I would get on the floats and float around the 4 corners, and we'd play drive-through. Like we were going to drive-through restaurants.
That's what
like,
you did.
We're going to McDonald's now, and we'd order. And then we'd go to Burger King now, and we'd order. Like, we played that all night. We would be blue.
We just went with the
rocks.
classic whirlpool. We just did the classic whirlpool.
It was
in
a
ours.
big, huge in-ground.
We had a
You
little
couldn't do it.
3-footer. We had a tiny little ghetto 3-footer. And we just, we'd almost collapse the walls because that whirlpool would be tight.
Yeah. We would do that with our friends that we grew up with, Paul and Carrie and Sean Lloyd. They both had above ground pools. That's what you do. Whirlpool or wave pool.
Yep. And then you were always sticky and dirty from some kind of flavor ice you were eating at the
disgusting.
time. Yeah, either Italian ice or flavor sticks. And my father would yell at us because the wrappers from the flavor ice would be all over the floor.
Flavor ice. I
still love flavor ice.
The green flavor ice is
I was
my
grape.
favorite.
Grape
No.
all day long. I could eat grape like it was going out of style. All right,
Green.
Mike's leaving us right now.
Goodbye.
Bye, Mike. Bye.
An allergic thing.
Okay.
So yeah, the grape flavor ice. And he'd come home, goddamn kids, these old tabs are all over.
Those tabs were all over.
He used to get so mad. But one of my favorite things I used to love is when my father would, he worked full time during the week. So on the weekends, he'd come home and he'd mow the lawn. He'd spend all day in the yard. Mm-hmm. And the smell of the grass cut. And then just how neat the yard looked afterwards. And you'd sit out there at night, couple of candles. I love it. I love the summer. Yeah. That's my time of year. Love it, love it, love it. Summer in the 80s. Free range kids.
Oh, yeah.
There were no computers. I mean, yeah, you had Atari, but Pong could only keep you entertained for so long.
It's about 5 minutes long.
Right. So you'd get on your bikes and kids just roam the streets on these bikes. No helmets, no nothing. We'd go down, like, there was this huge hill in Riviera, Park Ave. We'd go down Park Ave. The buses go down Park Ave. Yeah. We'd be at the start at the top. Your little tassels and you're flapping on the side of that thing. Put the cards in the... People used to put the cards in...
My cousin Danny.
Like you're on a motorcycle going down Park Ave. I don't know how I didn't go head on into a bus. No feet. Your arms would be like, oh, look at me, I'm the greatest. You never see kids doing that now. Never.
My grandmother lives on the Hospital Hill in Everett. And if anybody is from around here, the
That's a
Hospital Hill on Everett is like...
It's like a mountain. It's like Mount Everest.
It's ridiculously steep. I don't know why you would put a hospital up there.
Well, it was the highest points you could land a helicopter.
Sure.
Back in the day when it was a real facility.
Uh-huh. So... She lived on the Hospital Hill, and at night we would sleep there a lot on the weekends. And at night, my sister, we would run down the hill chasing the sun, like as it set. Stacy's knees. I swear to God, every summer, all our lives were just skinned because she'd fall. She was a clown. Fall down, slide down the cement hill on her knees. Every year they were scraped open.
I got it. I think I remember going on a date. I must have been like 18 or 19. I was leaving the front of the person's house, wiped, fucking scraped the shit out of my knees. I'm like, what am I, 8 years old again? I had 2 big scabs on my knees like I was 8 years old. I was like, God damn, I'm an idiot.
Kids don't have scab knees anymore.
No, because they're inside playing Xbox.
I have scars. You can see the scars from my there's constant scab
Or
knees.
up your shins with a pedal from the bike.
Yes.
Because the bike pedals were laced with barbs, I think.
They were wicked.
And they'd get you right in the shin if you missed.
Yeah.
Oh, you...
They were those metal ones with those pick things in
And
them.
you didn't have fancy bikes in the 80s. You had bastardized bikes where you had handlebars from one bike, the seat from another bike that you pulled out of the trash.
You want to know where I got my bike?
Mine came out of the trash. Where did yours come?
The police station? When
The stolen bikes?
Stolen bikes.
Stolen bikes you could reclaim?
My mother got me one. I think it was $1. And it was huge. I was a little teeny tiny, like short little small thing. And
It took you like 4 pedals to get it going.
It was this big, bright orange bike, and it had the big, huge handlebars, and then it had no seat because it was stolen. So I did get to get a seat.
That's
so I
a
got
joy.
black with gold ribbing around it, and then
Was
it
it
was
a Huffy?
sparkles.
Remember
obviously.
the Huffy bikes had the sparkle seats?
Oh, it was just it was a banana seat.
Oh.
Remember the banana
Yeah,
seats?
oh, I had a banana. I had the blue
So
angel.
I had this big, huge orange bike with a black and gold sparkle banana seat.
But that man,
Oh
that
my
thing
god!
got you
I
far.
could barely get up
Yeah.
onto it. I loved that bike.
My brother's bike, I used to want to ride, and he had built it from like 4 million different
Mm-hmm.
bikes, but it was so high, I'd have to take it to my neighbor's chain link fence, climb the chain link fence to get on. I couldn't touch the bottom, but I rode that thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I didn't kill myself on
I
that
know.
goddamn, and I'd be pedaling. I must have had legs like
calves.
friggin'
You wouldn't
marathon runners. Oh, the 80s. So yes, before we reminisce too much, we're actually going to talk about some of the things that you could do in the 80s that you're not going to do now because,
you really
well,
shouldn't.
you really shouldn't. So Laura's going to start it with
the summertime favorite in the 80s. Drinking from the hose.
oh, and if it's sat in the sun, the first part of the
Oh,
hose is
so
tough.
hot.
Yeah, that's the one you wanted to bathe in first.
Let me pour this on myself, and then I'll take a
I'm just
sip.
going to rinse my hair, put some sun in my hair first.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. When we were little, you wouldn't know because you have dark hair. I was like blonde, white blonde when I was little, and these two, but I always had like curly, wavy hair. The two kids I grew up with, Lauren and Sean, were blonde towheads, but they had that silky,
Beautiful blonde.
silky straight, like
Yeah.
wicked straight hair. And they had a pool, and we were in the pool all summer long. So mine would get green
Mhm.
from the chlorine. Theirs would be like neon because it had that sheen, like the silky smooth sheen. All summer long, they had green hair. It was
Well, I just went to get my hair cut finally because we opened up the salons, and Jen, who was on our gastric bypass episode, was doing my hair, and we started talking about sun-in because my daughter wanted highlights. She was going to put sun-in in it. She's like, "Oh my god, everybody in the fucking 80s was, what did she call it? Like copper orange." She used some word. Every brunette was orange because sun-in doesn't work in a brunette's
Right.
hair. You have to be the perfect blonde to make
Right.
sun-in work. Everybody thought they looked great. You'd put lemon in your hair, sun-in in your hair, and you'd just lay out there hoping you'd get a blonde streak.
Yeah.
And you fried your hair. You looked like a Brillo pad that was orange.
Yeah.
That's it.
well, us blondes had green hair, so don't worry. Anyways, drinking from the hose.
Digress.
I love drinking from the hose. We always drank from the hose. And
That's
then
all you
put
did.
your thumb over the front
Oh,
of the
yeah.
hose and spray. Yeah. That was so much fun.
They didn't have the handle to
No,
spray
you just
it.
had the
You-
end of the hose. Like we didn't have a thing.
And then you'd make it go.
Yes. We played in the hose for hours.
Yep. Total entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
And then you make it spin like,
Yes,
you'd make it.
you'd make it go back and forth.
You'd wiggle it, and then,
Yeah.
and then you try to catch the drops. Yeah.
We did it for hours. And then we got one of those the metal sprinklers, remember? And it would like rotate back and forth just that long. And we'd jump over it. We jumped over a sprinkler hours a day on the hot black
if
chalk.
you weren't jumping over the sprinkler, you were choreographing dances. Did you do that? Because we danced for hours too.
Nicole,
I mean, you were Miss Maplewood, I know.
I lived at an intersection. I don't know if do you remember my house in Malden?
Exactly.
My house was where like three
Let's
streets.
just say a major
Yeah,
intersection.
it was where 3 streets met, and me and my sister, my cousin Katie, hey Katie, would stand on my front porch, which is over the fence, so everybody driving can see the front porch, and I'd have my pink boombox, and we had dances, every song imaginable, and my grandmother and my Aunt Mary. They would come over all the time. They'd be like, "Show us a dance," and we'd show the dance. And my Aunt Mary, "I'm calling my friends in Hollywood. You're gonna be
My
famous."
girlfriend went on community auditions.
Ooh.
I wish I had recorded, because these dances had to be horrible.
Awful.
But we would choreograph dances for hours in her driveway. Hours. And then she had this, it was a great piece of property. Like, so it had been an old Italian house. So they had a whole lot of land that was just a garden. At the time she lived there, the garden was gone. So she'd sit in the garden part, and she had this wicked long driveway. And that was the stage.
My
We would
front porch.
dance down the stage.
People would beep as they drove by. We'd be dancing out there all day long. Dancing on the front
all
porch.
day. Yeah. So if you weren't in the homes, you were choreographing
Yes,
dances.
that's really all we did all summer. Anyways, so drinking from the hose. Everyone did it. Kids, adults, like literally, everyone would go take a drink from the hose. Like, oh, you're thirsty?
You're
Go
not
take
coming
a
to my
drink from the
house because
hose.
you're filthy. You're sticky from flavor ice and you're wet and
You're
muddy.
disgusting. You were just in the sprinkler on the grass.
You got grass in the pool.
So the hose is always at the ready. You use it to water the flowers. You use a sprinkler because if you didn't have a pool, you were in your sprinkler. That's all you had. Remember that sprinkler thing?
My mother had the old metal cheap ass sprinkler, and
It was the old.
I have to pay for the water, so she'd put it on for like, psst, and you'd be done. Ma,
There was
I'm not
an
even
old
wet.
metal one, but then remember the plastic one with that? It had like the crazy soft things
The
coming out.
wiggly one.
It like had it looked like hair.
The
And
squiggle one.
oh my god! I just
I think that was on the 10 worst toys.
It was. Well, we played with it. So you'd have it out there. You'd be doing this. You'd be doing that. Take a few sips. So nowadays, no one even knows what you're talking about. No. If you said
Drink
it
out
to
of
my
the hose,
kids, like,
that's
go
disgusting.
take a sip out of the hose, they would, why would you drink out of the hose? So, according to MakeFoodSafe.com, science and technology has advanced since the 80s, believe it or not. And they have found... I didn't know if anybody was aware of that.
It's only been 30 years.
Yeah, I mean...
I hope we've come a little...
We've come a step or two. So it's advanced, and they found that hose water is unsafe for human and pet consumption.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm going to ruin this for you.
No,
Obviously.
you know what? I'm going to go home and drink from the hose on purpose.
Fine. Let's see if you get any of these
Maybe
diseases.
I'll get botulism.
Obviously, the water coming from your hose is the exact same as the water coming from your faucet.
Yep.
The difference is what the water is carried in. Water from the hose is contaminated with lead. This is going to be another
What are you using, pipes as a hose?
No. Antimony, bromine, organotin, phthalates, and BPA due to the hose and no filter. Antimony and bromine, probably not saying either of those correctly.
Right.
Antimony and bromine are flame retarding chemicals from the hose. So it's not good. You don't want to be drinking
Why
flame.
does a hose need to be flame retardant?
I don't know.
It's a hose.
It's I think whatever it's made with is like it must be coated. I don't know.
Well, then the inside of me is flame retardant. That's all.
Yeah.
So if I smoke, I won't catch
It's
fire.
fine. BPA, lead, and phthalates are used to stabilize plastics. The Ecology Center in Michigan found lead levels to exceed the safety limits of the Safe Water Drinking Act in every hose in their study. They also found that 100% of the hoses used had several plasticizers that are banned in children's products.
And now you know why we are no more fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
1/3 of the hoses in this study had organotin, which messes with the endocrine system. Half of the hoses contained antimony.
That's why I didn't get my boobs till I was 15.
Yeah. Half of the hoses contain antimony, which can cause liver, kidney, and other organ damage. All hoses contain extremely high levels of phthalates, which lower intelligence.
That's my problem right there. There you go.
Cause behavioral changes and damage to the endocrine system. Also, BPA was 20 times higher than those of safe drinking water levels. So to minimize your risk from the water in your hose, let the water run for a few minutes. Don't drink that hot water.
Well, I never did. I bathed in it.
You would bathe in it
before
first.
I put my son in it.
Let it run, then drink. Keep the hose in a dark, cool place. The sun helps the hose degrade faster and release those toxins. So mine that laid across our yard all the time was not safe.
Because nobody can bother to roll it up. Yeah. That was another thing my father always bitched about. How come no one rolls up the goddamn hose? My father was always bitching about something.
Well,
famous last words. Son of a bitch bastard kids. That's what son of a bitch bastard. I think he coined that phrase. You son of a bitch bastard kids. We don't live at home. I haven't been home for 20 years. If I walk in, they'll be like, well, this is broken. okay, well, why are you looking at me? It's goddamn kids. I'm like, Dad, I haven't lived here in 20 years. Nobody has been here for 20 years.
Check your fixtures on your hose. Outside fixtures are usually brass, which is unregulated metal, which can contain lead, and that's why the water has lead in it.
God forbid.
And choose a natural rubber hose, because those don't have toxins.
I am not buying a natural rubber hose.
Well, if you would like to drink from it, that's what you should buy.
They suck the fun out of everything.
Just saying.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about diving boards, pools and diving boards. Okay. When you talk about communal pools, the first story that comes to my mind, and this was one recently, because it grossed me out so bad, I'm still traumatized. I have PTSD from it. Do you remember that story of the woman who went missing at the pool?
Yes.
Okay, so rule number 1 in a pool, if it's murky,
don't
go swimming. You don't swim in murky pools, because pools should be crystal clear. Yes. So she went swimming in a pool, and she went missing. Mm-hmm. And 3 days later, her body floated to the surface of the pool. For 3 days, kids had been swimming in a pool with a decomposing body. Let alone who's peeing in it, the hair in it, and everything else in the pool. But we're actually not going to talk about the content of the pool water. We're going to talk about diving boards, which you rarely see anymore, unless you are in a very old pool. So every year, about 6,500 children are treated for diving board accidents, and that averages about a kid per hour while pools are open. Wow. Kids between the ages of 10 to 14 are most likely to get hurt, with more boys than girls getting hurt.
Shocker!
I know, you're really surprised by that statistic.
Shocker.
More than 80% of the injuries occur of a dive height of less than or equal to about 3 feet. So we're not talking these high boards. We're talking a backyard board where somebody was like, "Oh, look what I can do."
Yeah.
So most get hurt trying to do backflips off the diving boards. Injuries sustained from diving boards are usually head, neck, and facial injuries because they go to do a backflip and their face collides with the diving board. Collisions with the diving board were the leading cause of injuries, and the likelihood of this dramatically increased if you were trying to perform a backflip. So there are do's and don'ts of diving into pools. Let's start with diving into pools. Don't do it. Don't dive in head first if you do not know the depth.
Yes, never dive anywhere if you don't know how deep it is.
And we'll get into that. Yeah. So this is the story of Michael Wang. He went for a swim in a friend's pool after a day out jet skiing. His friend went up to see his baby. The wife, Michael Wang's wife, went up to see the baby. I'm going to go dive into the pool. Dives headfirst into the pool. The top of his foot hits the bottom of the pool right at the slope. So if you're diving off the diving board and it is not a long enough pool, you collide with the slope. And his head went boom right into the slope and he snapped his neck. So he's in the water and he's like, all I could do was turn my head, and he can't get to the surface. And he was just about to give up and die. His wife came out, gets him out of the pool. And at 41, he is paralyzed from the chest down. He can move his arms. He was a marathon runner, but he can move his arms. So all reports say is you jump into a pool feet first, because this gives you the ability to decrease acceleration by landing on your legs. Head first, your neck takes the impact. There was a kid in Marblehead recently too. He was on spring break, and I think he jumped in feet first though. But he jumped in. He's a quad, I believe, and they had to fly him home from France. It was awful. So do's and don'ts of diving. Know the shape of the pool bottom and the pool depth before you dive or slide headfirst into a pool. In fact, you should never slide headfirst into a pool. Plan your path to avoid hitting others or obstacles. So if there's 50 million little kids in floats in the back of the pool, don't dive in them. Hold your head up, arms up, and steer up with your arm. So when you're coming up from the bottom of the pool, use your hands first so you can feel if there's going to be an obstacle and you don't crack your head. Do not dive off the sides of diving boards, because that's bad.
Yes.
Don't drink and dive.
Good idea.
Don't dive into an above ground pool.
No.
So I remember watching one of these videos. I think it was it couldn't have been America's Funniest Home Videos, because this was not a funny video. It was a video, and a guy dove headfirst into a 3-foot pool, snapped his neck. And you can just see everybody looking, and then the wife jumping in and pulling him out. Don't dive or slide into shallow end. Don't dive across the narrow part of the pool. So
into the wall.
Into the wall. Don't run and dive. No, this word, because this is such an 80s word too. No horseplay.
No
Laura, no horseplay.
No horseplay. Every sign said that. No horseplay.
No horseplay, no tomfoolery. No tomcatting around. So no horseplay on slide or board. Don't do backflips, which every single person in the world has done off a diving board. No fancy dives, please. Don't dive through objects, which I've done multiple times.
We used to do that intentionally.
I mean, who didn't dive through?
Put one tube.
The tube.
Now put two tubes.
Now let me do three tubes. Let me see if I can walk across the tubes. Yep. Never swim or dive alone.
Yes.
God forbid you should have a major accident. I was going to get into water slides that pools have, because those are kind of dangerous too.
Yes.
But it was either inflatable water slides or water park water slides.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure nobody got decapitated on a backyard water slide.
So my friend growing up, my best friend in elementary school, had a in-ground pool with a diving board and the slide.
Oh, she was high class.
Oh my God. It was unbelievable.
That was like Score Dog.
Oh my, it was unreal. And of course we did all the stupid stuff, but eventually the slide stopped working, because the water is supposed to naturally shoot out of it. It eventually stopped working. You just put the garden hose up there and went down the slide.
Bingo! Took a sip of it before you put it up there. Yep.
We were fine. It was so
best.
much fun.
Yeah.
And then when we bought our house in Malden, we had a huge gunite in-ground pool. I had a seat in the deep end. It was like beautiful. I had a diving board. And I remember I was like, you have to get rid of the diving board. I'm like, oh, it's fine, whatever. Yeah. And we bought it in like June. So the first summer we're there and we're young and we had our friends over and Mike had his brother and his brother's friends were over and they were teenagers at the time.
Oh my God.
And one of his friends, they were all driving off of it, which was probably, I was like, yeah, we should have gotten rid of this diving board. And one of them got back up on it and went to dive off of it. And the whole board just cracked in half.
Problem solved.
Okay, diving board's done. Diving board's done. I was like, oh my God. Broke the diving board right in half.
But you just don't see pools. I think it's too, the insurance companies
Yeah.
won't even cover you if you have a diving board or a slide. So
they are dangerous. They're super dangerous. And we used to go to this resort.
It really should only be if you're a diver.
Right. We used to go to this resort. I swear to God, it felt like that diving board was 20, 30 feet high. It was probably 10. But you got to go up a ladder to get onto oh my God. The first time you jump off of that every year, you would like walk out. Like you were going to die, and you'd get to the edge. You'd be like, okay, I can do it. And you'd jump off. Your head would kill you.
Yeah.
You had to link your fingers.
Yeah.
And dive with them linked in front of your head to break the water. Like it hurt.
Hard.
It was that high. But it was fun.
Well,
and then everybody would turn around. I don't know how any of us didn't break something off of that.
You did flips and everything else. I mean, do you remember the Olympics when Greg Louganis smashed his head?
I cannot.
It's the worst. I can't even watch it.
No. And they replay it for all these horror things. And I'm like, I can't look at it.
Yeah. So Greg Louganis was a Olympic diver. He was drop dead gorgeous. And he did a flip and the back of his head cracked.
And those aren't boards.
No, those are like
metal. I mean, concrete.
He crumpled. Yeah. He crumpled into the water, blood everywhere. It was awful. So that's kind of scarred me too.
Yeah.
So that's my story with diving boards and pools. If they're murky, don't swim in them. Stay away from the diving boards, even though they were a lot of fun. I had so much fun with diving boards.
I did too, but today.
They're dangerous. They're dangerous.
They're just dangerous. And today, Sam's jumping in to the pool. He's like, watch this. I'm like, you can't dive.
Yeah.
It's 3 feet deep, 4 feet deep. You can't, you'll break. And I know what I'm doing. And he's a boy between the ages of 10 and 14. I'm like, oh my God, you cannot do that. Please don't dive.
Always feet first, because you'll at least your legs can buckle and take the impact.
And
your head will not.
No, your head, no. It'll buckle.
It'll buckle and you'll snap your neck.
Yeah. Please be careful. Okay. So I'm going to talk about playgrounds in the 80s.
Oh, I think I still have third-degree burns in the back of my legs from those playgrounds.
Scars all over. I was a small child in the 80s. So playgrounds were like my jam. That's all you did. So
you were my jam.
I mean, that's
pump up the jam.
I was 0 to 9. That's the only place you went to.
I'm not going to say I was in high school by the end of the 80s.
So I think the biggest thing you remember, it's a slide in Revere is the biggest.
Was it the one that was at the Whalen?
And it was 18,000 feet high.
It was like you needed a backpack to get to the top of it. Yeah.
I vividly remember that slide.
And it was
stood alone.
Fast.
It was so high, so like steep.
Yep.
And sheer metal, and it burned you like you would have.
Oh my God. How many kids got burned on those things? You'd be like, going down because it was so sweaty and hot.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Who thought to put a fucking metal slide in the sun?
Sun. Yeah.
Good idea. And at the bottom, they weren't wood chips.
No,
They wasn't
concrete.
recycled plastic. Yeah. Concrete.
Concrete.
You went head first. You went head first.
Onto the concrete. So I say about metal slides, they sat in the sun all day.
Mm-hmm.
They're scalding hot. You would try, so I'm like pulling up memories of these things. Do you remember? You would like tuck your shirt under your bum so it was like over your shorts.
Because you know what? That wasn't going to stop us. You
No,
could
oh my
fry an
God.
egg on that slide.
You knew
It
you were
wasn't
going to get
stop
a
us.
burn,
You were
but
going.
you
Yeah.
try everything so you'd wear the really big shirts anyways. You pull the t-shirt down
And lay on your
bum,
back.
and then you would put the bottom of your sneakers on the slide under you, so you like your whole
So
your legs didn't touch the stupid slide.
And then you had to climb from the bottom up.
Of course.
I mean, come on.
They were wicked tall. Like these slides down, like that's not even fun. Like it's
Could
like,
somebody make it hurt?
ridiculous.
I think we had rope ladders to the top of them.
No. We had those metal fucking steps. And then you'd be waiting, and some asshole would be up top, not going, or talking to somebody, and then someone would turn, and you'd slip and fall down the metal steps. Do you remember those? They were like...
I remember
and
vividly.
then you'd slip, and the stupid railings were scalding hot, because they were
I
metal.
still have shin bruises from the steps
Oh my
carrying.
God. You
Right
just-
under them where the pedals of death got you.
Yes.
The ladders got you.
Oh my God. They were like death traps. I said, there's asphalt under all your equipment. You come off the slide, asphalt.
Yep. If you fill off those swings, now you know why everybody had scab knees. Because there
constant.
was no safe place to land.
No. Do you remember? I don't know what these are called. It was like a big wood Fred Flintstone wheel, and you would hold the metal bar and you would run on it like a hamster thing. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Those?
I do. Yeah.
And then
And if you missed,
you'd eventually... you would be going too fast. Your feet couldn't keep up. So then your feet would fall behind it, and the whole wooden thing would give you splinters and cuts all up your leg because you'd be now hanging with the metal wheel running against them as you're holding on to the scalding hot metal bar. I loved those wooden things.
well, I mean, I have a wooden playground story, and I'm not even going to tell you who it is because this person will hate me for telling me the story, but I witnessed it. We'll just say I witnessed it, okay? And the person the story is about was kind of heavy. Mm-hmm. All right. And they were wearing their husky jeans. And they were a bit of a daredevil. Mm-hmm. And they were at the age where they want to show off in front of the girls who are at the playground. So they're climbing on the top of the wooden, like, swing set. Mm-hmm. Gonna jump off. Gonna jump off. So they're kind of heavy. Mm-hmm. So they jump off the top and they land in every seam in those jeans came loose. So all that was left was the band. Flapping jeans ripped all the way up. Rivets flying off. I think one of the girls got a rivet to the and now he's like, and he's got his little tighty whities on underneath. He's like, and he's trying to cover his pants. My sympathetic mother is a puddle on the ground because she's laughing so hard. My father, who doesn't crack a smile, is tears running down his face. How do you not laugh at that? And the poor person that's trying to cover up his underwear in front of the girls.
The poor person who your mother and father were there to witness.
And if you hear him tell the story, it's 10 times funnier than I could ever tell you. Like, you'll throw up laughing. It's so funny. But I'm telling you, those pants couldn't take the PSIs that were behind that power. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. That's a good one. The Fred Flintstone wheel thing. I don't know what the hell that's called.
I know, but you
just run on top of it. Why? I don't.
Well, they had to get our exercise.
Yeah. Loved them. Loved those. Then you had monkey bars. The monkey bars are not like today's monkey bars. No. At least 10 feet high. Mm-hmm. You had a good solid...
It was like a cage.
You had a good solid 5 feet to drop.
On cement.
Yeah, onto cement. Also...
Hot
scalding metal bars that you're trying to hold yourself up 10 feet in the air and on over cement.
Oh, you remember the cage one that you'd climb to the top?
I love those structures.
Yeah.
The metal.
Yeah, the metal cage ones that you climb all the way up.
Loved those.
You whack your head at some point on one of the bars. It was a great time.
That's why I have metal climbing structures, because I don't know what those things are called either. But they were
monkey bar cages.
They were cages. And you would just climb up to the top, and they were like 20 feet high in the air. With
Only in the 80s could you create a cage for your kid to play in.
Go climb in that metal hut.
Yeah, go get in the cage.
I didn't know this had a name. You know the thing that you spin around?
The merry-go-round.
Yeah, so...
The vomit machine?
Roundabout.
Yeah, the roundabout.
I'm like, because it's not really a merry-go-round.
Looking at one of those, I get sick.
Oh my God. Also loved those. So it's that thing roundabout a merry-go-round, and
you tried to spin it fast enough so your friends would fall
off.
off.
The kids would sit in between the big, long bars, and then one of them or two of them would hold on to the bar, run around the outside, and then jump on once it's going fast enough, and everybody would be like holding on for dear life so you didn't fall off.
And somebody would always spin it fast enough so you'd fall off.
Yes. And then, did you ever lay on them and put your head off of it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. It felt so good.
Your hair's...
Yeah. How did we not kill ourselves? I don't know.
Because we were smart.
I guess. I mean, it sounds like we were pretty stupid, but...
Well...
Loved the roundabout.
When you had parents who put you in cages, we figured it out.
There is a roundabout at the park down the street from us here. Still. Which I cannot believe has not been removed.
Do you remember the toys, the sit and spins?
Sit and spins?
Or sit and puke is what I used to...
Sit and spins were my favorite thing. I got it at my... I think I was 3 years old at Christmas because I just saw a video. And there was my sit and spin. I'm like, I had that thing till I was fucking 12.
So kids today, they get Xboxes, they get... PlayStations, they get iPads. We got a sit and spin. What was a sit and spin? It was a wheel that you sat your ass on, and it had like a steering wheel in the middle, and you just spun yourself and spun yourself and spun for 4 fucking hours and spun yourself and spun in the middle of your kitchen. Like, we looked mentally challenged.
They were on so these much fun, though.
Yep. And then the big wheels. Remember the big wheels? And you hit the brake and spin out in your big wheel.
So the big wheels. We had big wheels. And we would ride them.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the day, for dessert, we would flip them over and get sticks and use the big wheel and pretend we were making ice cream cones. How a stick against a big wheel makes you an ice cream cone?
I'm making butter.
We made ice cream cones.
Well, I must have been, to be able to still fit on my big wheel, I had to be under 5. I dragged that bad boy all the way to the top of my hill.
Oh, God.
My mother never saw it, on the street.
Right.
And I'd take my feet off the pedals, and I'd go flying down, and then I'd hit the brake in front of my parents' house, and spin around. If I saw a 4-year-old doing that now, I'd have a stroke. Run after run, drag it back up to the top of the hill, spin it out, drag it back to the top of the hill. Oh, so my big fun. Wheel. I love my big wheel.
So the spin thing. Cement slides.
Oh. Well, you got a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, they have.
Talk about a death trap.
So there's cements. They have them at all different places, but the ones we used to go to were in Salem.
Yes.
And my mother would take us, and you'd either bring a piece of cardboard, or there's usually a piece of cardboard at the park that you could take that's already...
Some used, bed bug ridden, nasty, some homeless man used it as a bed piece of cardboard.
Didn't matter.
Yep.
And then the cement slide is in the side of a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to the top, and you sit down the top.
Steep.
Steep?
It
steep. Inverts at the top. It is
steep.
So steep. And I don't remember that as a kid. I just remember how fun it was going down on the cardboard. I don't know why. It was like such a treat to go down a slide on cardboard on cement.
We didn't expect much in the 80s.
No, it was literally cement. So I was like, when my kids were little, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take them to the cement slide. I think Sam must have been like 3 or... I probably did it. I did it when he was old enough to do it. So 3 or 4. And my mother comes with me. She's like, I love the cement slide. Like, okay. So we get there. We're walking to the cement slide. We get to the top. I'm like, this isn't the cement slide. She's like, well, yeah, it's the cement.
It's still the same slide.
It is so steep. It inverts. And she's like, I know. You used to scare me to death going down. I'm like, oh my God, it inverts. And she's like, I know. Sam's like 3. Like,
loved it. Yeah.
Oh my God. And of course,
I never told my husband we went to the cement slides because he would have had a stroke.
Well, Mike's like, what do you mean cement slides?
I'm like, it's cement. Like, if you fall off, you're going to crack your head in the cement.
It's all made out of poured cement. So fun.
Yeah.
I just brought them there again last year.
down I was like,
oh yeah.
This is my cardboard.
I'll go down first to make sure it's okay.
Yeah. Let me do a couple of runs just to warm it up for you.
It's so fun. But cement slides, those are not seen really.
No, I would think not. Not in the new cushy generation, let's call it that.
Swing sets. Do you remember how big the swing sets were? How high? If you were little, you had to grab onto the metal.
Yeah. Do you remember the backyard swing sets that would move? If you swung hung up, it came up.
It would start rolling.
Yeah.
And you'd have to get yourself up onto the swing. And I don't know Did you have those hard plastic straight across slings?
Sometimes.
I loved those.
I did too, because as I grew hips, the rubber ones hurt.
But you could stand so much
yes,
better on the hot
yes, you
plastic
could.
ones and swing way up and way back, and you'd
try to spin it around,
pumping, trying to get around the stupid thing, and then jump off of it 30 feet up.
I'm pretty sure that's how I broke my ankle in 4th grade.
Oh my god, they were so. But those stupid hot plastic seats, they were hot. They were scalding hot, and yeah, they were so high you couldn't get off them. You'd jump off. You do the underdog, where someone would push you and run under it, and then.
And for those of you who don't know the Underdog was a cartoon in the 80s. Underdog!
And you'd have to do the underdog as you're pushing somebody. I still would say that to my kids. I don't think other people really say that. I'm like, oh, I'll give you an underdog.
People walk into a room, I'm like, here he comes to save the day. I'm like, nobody remembers Mighty Mouse? No, I said to somebody the other day, we were in Cardiac, and I was like, get a little closer, don't be shy. You don't remember that commercial either. With Arid Extra Dry. No. And I literally was the only person in the room like, none of you guys remember Arid Extra Dry? No. Nobody?
I thought for a second you were starting to sing the Double Mint Twins.
No, get a little closer, don't be shy.
Double your pleasure.
With double mint gum. And it was always twins. Yeah. But nobody remembered the Arid Extra Dry. If you remember Arid Extra Dry commercial, please write in, because I'd like to know that somebody else remembers that commercial. And move over, bacon. Here comes something leaner. Sizzling. Nope. That was like fat-free bacon. Anyway, I think it was dog treats. Go ahead.
Oh, God. Tire swings. You don't see those a lot anymore.
No, you don't.
I loved tire swings.
Spin you till you threw up. It was great.
3 kids on it, and 2 of you would hold
3. There'd be like 80 on that time.
And then you'd run around in circles until you were flying up in the air, running so fast. Or did you used to do the one where you'd sit in the middle? And all the kids would go on the outside?
would have one of those, and you all had your legs in the middle, and you could swing it. Yes. Hunt had one of those for a very long time.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. And then the ones where it was small, so just one person got in the middle?
I don't remember those.
Did you ever do that? Mm-hmm. It was like a regular tire swing, but one person would sit in the middle and put their feet in, like, the inside.
And
they would spin you around.
Oh, my God. Kids were vicious, too, man. You got into one of those, it was like you were asking for trouble.
And then you would twist it? And twist it and twist it till the chains were all twisted to the bottom, and then spin them the opposite way, and oh my God. And your head would be like, you'd be trying to hold your head up, and you couldn't. It would just keep going back.
Yeah, and I wonder why I'm nauseous every now and when I just think of that stuff now.
Then all the wooden play structures or metal play structures had the poles, the fireman poles.
Yeah. Why?
And it was like 3 stories
high.
up.
It was high, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you would slide down the scalding hot metal and have the burns on the inside of your legs.
You wanted a nice, well-rounded burn.
Yeah, you had a burn. The jungle gyms, the metal jungle gyms that was shaped like a fire truck or...
Oh, yes.
But you could like climb on the back and they were all poles and metal poles and so I loved those.
And everything was 120 degrees when you touched
it. A gazillion.
Yep.
A gazillion. And seesaws.
Oh, backcrackers.
The big, huge,
metal,
long,
high.
Because it was so long, it had to go wicked high.
Yep.
And then
your asshole friend would
always had the asshole friend that would sit, boom, and you would hit that ground, and there was no tire under it, like there is now.
Jar.
I literally said your teeth. You would hit the ground so hard, your chin would snap, like you. Yeah. Oh my God, your ass would hit that ground,
and then your ass would get off that seat and tackle you, son of a bitch!
Don't drop me!
Don't you do it! Don't you do it! Yeah, because you knew it, and they'd get that stupid look on their face, like
you knew they were gonna drop you.
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
You hit that ground. Now, if you do see
there's a tire on the bottom.
They're small.
Yeah,
and there's the little tire under the seat, so you hit the tire. You don't hit the concrete.
Because some 80s kid probably ended up with a snapped neck from it.
Oh my God!
Or lost all their teeth.
The chin would just. Oh my God!
You always had somebody do that to you. Always.
There was always that person that dropped you. Always. But
then you always had the Brady Bunch episode where there was some friend you and she would try to make the world record of being on the seesaw forever. Remember that?
Oh my God, I do remember that.
We're going to be on it forever.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that,
in the 80s.
After that fun part, I'm going to speak. And I wanted to say, first of all, my last thing on pools, I did get real information. I got it from the American Institute for Research and Science News, 2008. This is from geology.com because I'm going to talk about quarries. Now, my vivid memory in the 80s, kids drowning in the Quincy quarries all the time.
I am petrified to this day of quarries
because of the Quincy quarries. Yes. So, abandoned mines and quarries are very dangerous.
Oh, gosh.
Why any numbnuts would go walking around an abandoned mine beats me.
No.
I wouldn't go in a mine if my kids were at the bottom of it, all right?
I can't even fathom it.
Nope. Every year, several people die in accidents from abandoned mines and quarries.
Oh, my God.
Most deaths that occur in mines and quarries are drowning deaths.
Yes.
They are extremely dangerous due to the steep drop-offs, the deep water, sharp rocks, flooded equipment, and submerged wire and industrial waste. Mm-hmm. So back in the day with these granite quarries, mines, they're digging below groundwater level. Mm-hmm. When the mine becomes abandoned, they leave all the shit. Yeah. And when they dig below groundwater level, they have pumps getting the water out. Well, when they stop digging, they turn the pumps off and the quarry's filled with ice, freezing cold groundwater that no matter how hot it gets, that water is ice, freezing cold. That is key later in the story. Foreshadowing. Another risk is the water is very cold, as I just talked about. So when the water is that cold and you jump or fall into it, it can be fatal because it creates a powerful cardiac respiratory response known as cold shock. Mm-hmm. And cold shock is a precursor to drowning. Mm-hmm. So between the years of 2001 and 2017, 9 people in the state of Massachusetts died in quarry accidents. Wow. 25 in the state of Ohio. 24 in the state of Pennsylvania. Wow. So, like I said, as a kid, you would hear of these quarries. And, you know, as a kid, you don't really know what a quarry is.
You just knew it was a big...
It was an entity. Yeah. And you knew kids were dying in it.
Yes.
And yet, no matter how many kids died in these quarries, people went back and swam in them. So, as I was doing the research on this, I realized Quincy had multiple quarries. Quincy's granite was very world-renowned. Huh? The Bunker Hill Monument is built from the Quincy quarries. The Fort Warren out on the bay there is built from the Quincy quarries. There's famous lighthouses with that granite. They were like the it thing in the 1800s. So you had like the granite rail quarry that later became known as Death Quarry. And I'll mention a couple of other ones. So over the 80s and 90s, 3 people drowned and 1 murder victim were found recovered from the quarry. Now, I think there were more accidents because I remember more than 3. Yeah. So in October 2nd of 1992, Stephen, I'm not going to give last names because it's not important, 19 of Quincy, he drowned after diving from a ledge into Wendell Quarry. June 27th, 1994, Patrick, 19, he fell into a quarry after a night of drinking and he drowned. Oh, August 9th, 1997, Thomas, 26, picked the highest point he could find at the granite quarry, the granite rail quarry, and jumped to his death.
Like after he purpose?
He jumped, said to his friends, "I'll be right back." Boom, done. July 31st, 1998, Ryan, 19, fell into the Lions Quarry where he drowned. Recently, probably 2009, there was a young Marine home on leave with his friends. Wanted to go visit the quarry, must have gone swimming there as a kid. Mm-hmm. He is getting ready to dive and he slipped, cracked his head, drowned in the quarry. So the granite rail quarry has been drained 2 or 3 times, specifically looking for bodies. And what happens is if they dive and they drown, they get caught up in the equipment, they get caught up in the wiring, and they can't find the bodies. So another father, I think the granite rail quarry recently, they wanted to drain it and make it into like a park. Mm-hmm. And this father's upset because he is convinced his daughter was dumped as a murder victim in that quarry. Mm-hmm. And that they missed it the first time they drain it. And they're like, dude, she's not in there. But whatever. In the 80s, we heard more of these. I didn't find the stories, but I know there were more drownings in that or accidents.
I vividly remember.
Yeah, you always heard, another kid drowned in the Quincy Quarry. Yeah. Another kid got hurt in the Quincy Quarry. Yeah. So, I mean, other accidents that they got into were ATV accidents. Mm-hmm. People going on the edges of these high slopes and the ATV goes off and they die. Yeah. Like, stay out of them. Oh Bottom line, there is no safety tip for quarries and mines except don't go in them. They're private property, so you're trespassing anyway. Mm-hmm. Stay out of them.
They're just dangerous. They're bad.
They're
all
awful.
Around.
They're awful. Yeah. They're dangerous. Yeah. The water's too cold for you to dive into. You don't know what you're diving into. Mm-hmm. You could be hitting the boom of a crane for all you know. You don't know what's in the bottom of that quarry. Just stay out of them. that's my story inquiries. Go ahead.
Good. All right. I'm doing now riding in the back of pickups.
Oh, pickup. I loved doing that. I loved doing that. And I had a lot of hillbilly cousins, so I loved it.
Well, my mother had a boyfriend in the 80s that had a pickup truck that we could go around in. And then we would go up to Maine because he had a family house up in Maine on a lake where he had like wave runners and jet skis and power and ATVs. And we had so much fun. But on the way up, he had a pickup truck. So we would sit in the back of the pickup truck all the way up to Maine. So he had a cap on it.
Yeah.
And we put beanbag chairs and he put a piece of carpet down. So we sat in the beanbag chairs in the bed of a truck with carpet. I mean, it was.
I didn't even have a cap on ours. You just sat in the back of the truck.
Well, up the way to 93, you had to have like at least the cap. We had a cap, so we couldn't fly out.
Right.
So there was that. But it was so much fun.
Oh my God.
Just
the wind's whipping your hair. Yeah. It's a blast.
Yeah. So I got this information on pubmed.gov. So what I was saying in the beginning was like so fun. You have the summer wind. It's a nice night. You got
you know why dogs enjoy the wind when you're in the back of a pickup. You're like, oh, this is great. There's a bug to my face. This is great.
You're like living wild and free. Mm-hmm. It's like kind of dangerous,
it's awesome,
but not really. Like
you can see the stars. It's great.
So in 1990, there was a study of comparing crashes, including passages in the cargo area versus passages in the cabs of trucks. The data was all injury events of pickup occupants for 1990 from the California Highway Patrol. There were 702 reported accidents with passengers riding in the bed of a truck.
Wow.
With 1,685 passengers in the beds of trucks and 865 in the cabs. Way more events of passengers in the bed of the trucks happened in the summer in rural areas. Yep. It's literally what
you're not going to ride one in the winter. It sucks.
Right. I mean, maybe to the end of your drive, but like you're in the back of the truck, you're on a dirt road somewhere. That's where you're picturing these, and that's where it happens. And many of them were non-collisions.
These are people hitting a bump and somebody goes flying out the back.
Right. Crashes with passengers in the cargo area resulted in 5% of the crashes had deaths of the passengers. Yeah. Drivers with passengers in the cargo area were 81% male and 22% under 20. Again, none of these things are surprising.
It's like being in the back of a motorcycle. There's no protection for you back there.
Of the 1,685 passengers in the cargo area, 65% were male and 36% were younger than 15.
Yep.
No shocker. I have sons. These are the people who do this. But
you know what? My cousin, we're talking like mid to late 20s, Marines, going to Lejeune on a weekend in this pickup, and his friend would be in the back from Boston to North Carolina in the back. He would joke. He'd be like, he thought MREs, which are those meals ready to eat, which are disgusting. He loved them. So he's like, all you'd see is the MRE wrap. It's flying by the window as he'd be eating in the back of the pickup. That's a 15-hour drive.
Yeah.
In the back of a pickup.
Oh my God.
Down 95. I can't tell you how many times that kid did that.
Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So that's a grown-ass man.
Yeah. So 65% were male, 36% were younger than 15, and 30% were between 15 and 19. Yeah. So teen males.
Teen males are the highest trauma victims, period.
Ever.
Yeah.
Of anything.
Right up till about 32.
Yeah. Passengers in the cargo area were much more likely to be ejected and seriously injured, obviously. There was another study looking at the spectrum of injuries and risk of kids riding in the back of a truck. These stats came from 2 large trauma hospitals in Kentucky, which probably have a ton
surprised? Kentucky?
No, rural back roads.
They probably lead poison from the hose, too.
Yeah. From 1988 to 1993, 33 patients under 18 years of age were ejected from the back of pickup trucks. Mostly were males, over 10 years old. These usually happened in the summer, in the early evening, in rural areas.
Because you know what they do, too? They start, like, whipping the truck around, doing donuts and shit, and the kid goes...
Yeah. 11 patients were ejected during a collision, 19 were ejected from a moving truck, and 3 fell from a parked truck.
I don't even want to go there.
No. The head was usually what was injured.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because you just Your head
Correct.
is the heaviest part. You're
Yeah.
toppling. The length of stay in the hospital ranged from 1 to 84 days.
Or 0 hours because you died.
And 13 patients needed ICU care, and 3 patients died, and 3 needed rehab. So obviously, like brain injuries, neck
it's
injuries.
bad. It's just bad.
It sounds like a great idea.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
night. It's a beautiful summer night tonight. The wind in my hair.
Look at the stars. It'd be great. Yeah.
Don't do it. Not safe. You're
Yeah.
going to hit a bump. You're going to fall out. You don't want to hurt somebody.
There's a reason nobody rides in the back of pickups
Right.
anymore.
Right. Don't ride in the back of your pickup.
But that was a lot of fun.
It was fun when you were
Well,
up
this
the
shit was
lake
fun,
and
I'm not gonna
riding
lie.
here and there, and everybody
Yeah.
jumped in the back. Don't do it.
Well, even like my parents had the station wagon.
Oh my God. The way
And
far back.
They put all the seats down.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be 800 kids back there. Nobody had seatbelts on. I mean, the exhaust was getting pumped right into the back of the car. I don't know how we asphyxiate in that thing. But it was a blast, and you'd be sitting in the back window waving at everybody. It was great.
Katie's mother still had a station wagon when we went to high school.
Oh, my God.
And once in a while she would pick, like I would get a ride home I usually had to take the bus, but sometimes I would get a ride home with them. And literally, we were still in high school. We'd be like, I'm in the way far back. Like, everybody would want the way far back. When we were in high school, we're sitting looking out the back window. Like,
When
it
I was in
so
high
much
school,
fun.
my girlfriend, her mother had a red station wagon with a red interior.
Nice.
And I remember my girlfriend picking us up. And we were all 3 in the front of the station wagon because it had the big bench seats. You didn't have bucket seats. You had big fucking bench seats. And she probably parked 20 miles from the school because she's like, I can't let anybody see me in this car. I will die of embarrassment. And there's the 3 of us in the front like, this is great. And a big bench seat. It's kind of like when we were in Ireland. All 3 of us in the front.
My first car was a 1981 something Royale. What was that? Chevy Royale?
Probably.
It was the size of my house.
Oh, I love those
It
cars.
was the
Though.
longest thing you've ever
You
seen
could
in your
fit
life.
50 people in the
I
front
could fit
seat.
3 bodies in the trunk.
Easy.
And everything, the front and the back were just bench seats.
Yep.
It was literally like my sofa in my
So if the
living room.
driver was really short, the passenger was fucked because you were sitting on the steering
Yeah,
wheel
you were
because
way
it's
up.
one seat.
So it was literally, my couch in my living room was the same size as the front seat of the car, and we would have like 4 of us across the front, 4
No
across
seatbelts.
the back. No, it was like,
Somebody was always playing with the lighter because it was cool.
yes. And then I was with my friends last night, and Jen's like, remember the time we were driving into Boston in your car? And it was always like 3 or 4 of us in each seat in the front and the back. And she's like, and your rear view mirror just came right off in your hands. I was like, yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well,
I was like,
the same girlfriend with the red station wagon, her first car was like this big 4-door Cutlass. And we were going to go to the movies. So she pulls up in front of the movie theater. I run out to check the times because
That's what you did.
That's what you did. So I run out to check the times. I come back. She's like, some guy just got in my car. He thought it was a taxi. She was like, I can't believe it. I'm not a taxi. Get out of my car.
I chose to drive this car.
I drive this because it's safe.
That's
Because if you hit something in those cars,
No.
you ping-ponged inside of it, but that car didn't break.
I totaled that car. It drove under a minivan. A minivan in front of me stopped short, and I
Went into it.
stopped short, but I couldn't stop in time, and I went into it. Literally just went right under the van. The whole front of it just went. I was fine. There was nothing wrong in the inside, but the whole front just
Crumpled.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that car.
Oh, those
Tony,
cars.
the exotic Italian horse. That was the name of the car. So I was having like I have word searching problems. Yeah. My friend, like, her car was Carla. Like, what's the name? I'm like, I don't know. It's like Tony. And they're like, why Tony? I'm like, it's like I meant to say Italian stallion, and I couldn't think of the words. So I was like, it's like a
Tony.
exotic Italian horse.
Look at him. He's an exotic horse. Rocky, the Italian exotic horse.
So it was Tony, the exotic Italian horse.
Oh, God bless Laura.
Yeah.
You have a way with words.
Yeah, I know.
The Italian exotic horse.
Yeah.
Ring number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless. Okay.
What do you got?
That's it. I'm done. I was tapped. I stayed with water. You got one more. I know you do. Bring it on.
Sunscreen.
Well, because that's the biggest part of the 80s.
The
There was no
tan.
such thing as sunscreen.
It was a tanning obsession.
Yeah.
Obsession.
Yeah.
I didn't even if you look at all these things, like all these like Glamour and all the magazines, like everything was bronze.
They were like a negative. You looked like a negative.
Yeah.
Because you'd have blonde hair and you'd be black.
Yeah. It was like, but I mean, like weird tans. So,
and it didn't matter what race you were, because like Irish white girls would try to get that dark, and
we weren't.
It's impossible.
Yeah, we were weird looking.
Yeah, it was impossible.
So everything was obsessed. TV, ads, magazines, everything obsessed with people being bronzed. Tanning lotions were created in the 80s. Sunscreen.
That would
kids.
explain why I would have to wear white vinegar after the beach to take the sting. My mother would be like, put on some white vinegar, it'll take the sting out. I'm like, I smell like a salad. Can't I have Noxzema like everybody else?
We put Noxzema.
No, my mother went with white vinegar.
Oh, no.
She cleaned the house with it, too.
Well.
Can you know what that smelled like?
Yeah.
Your house smelled like a salad.
Yeah. So sunscreen for kids only had 2, 4, or 8 SPF.
Those babies had boils on them.
And only very fair children wore that. You would get a really good burn at the beginning of summer for a base tan.
Yeah, if I get this burn, I'll never burn again.
So I mean, I still say that. I'm like, I burn it first, but then I tan. So we're driving to Nicole's pool today, and I have our friend Kristen in the car with us. And we're on the way, and I said something about whatever. She's like, I'm just so excited. I'm just going to get like a really good burn for the beginning. So I was like, Kristen, I'm literally talking about that tonight. Like, it was so funny. I'm like,
but you did. And I mean, the burn, I mean, everybody's had one of these burns where the sheets hurt when they're on your skin. You couldn't even wear a t-shirt.
It felt like it was sticking to you.
Yes.
It was going to stick to your skin forever.
And you felt like your skin was going woo, woo.
Oh my God.
From the heat. You felt like the surface of the sun. That's awful. How bad the burn would be.
My cousins, believe it or not, are very fair.
No, shocker.
Yeah, my cousins, Josh and Steven. And they were the whitest children. Mm-hmm. I mean, I say Sam's the whitest child. My cousins, Josh and Steven, when they were little, were the whitest children you've ever seen in your life. And we'd go in my grandmother's pool. And they would come down, like, on weekends, and they would go in the pool, and they'd put sunscreen on, and then they would put white t-shirts on. Well, white t-shirts in the sun
reflect the sun. As does the water.
You just burn.
Through the t-shirt.
Like a piece of bacon. It was... They would take the shirts off. They had boils.
Yes.
And blisters. And then we would sit there, because I'm a sick person, I would sit and just peel the skin right off of their backs. Like just, like in sheets. You try to get like a really good
I'm feeling the pain. I'm feeling the pain from it.
The burns. Do you remember those kids got?
Garrett at Myrtle Beach?
Oh my God, I forgot his face.
Yeah. So we went to Myrtle Beach a couple of years ago, and you put sunscreen on, but we were in the water. Okay. I think for 6 hours straight. I think my son looked like Voldemort. He was shedding like a snake by the end of the week because he fried his nose and his face.
His nose.
It's the only time ever that my kids got that kind of a burn, because I'm really good about sunscreen. Yeah. So from now on, I get the water babies because it doesn't come off in the pool.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways, so people applied Crisco.
Crisco.
Mm-hmm. Iodine.
Like a piece of bacon.
Baby oil. To tan.
I remember the baby oil.
I remember the baby oil because my cousin Jill, my mother's cousin Jill, would come, and she'd sit. She's very tan, anyways, and she's very tall and thin and
willowy.
I remember her sitting there and putting the baby oil, and her skin was always like so brown and tan. Like she was just so tan all the time.
She was like a Thanksgiving turkey,
and she shined from the baby oil. Like I remember that.
Well, they'd get the baby oil, and then they'd get the tin foil to reflect it.
You'd had to have the tin foil thing in front of
I'd sit on my roof to get sun with the baby oil.
Yeah. I never put baby oil because I would have had third-degree burns if I put baby oil.
I got a little bit of that,
Yes.
Italian horse skin.
Yes. Exotic
Italian horse skin.
I never heard of the iodine, though. This is a thing.
To bronze you up.
Iodine in the baby oil and then apply that so they were bronze. I never had heard of that. Teeny bikinis and bathing suits with cutouts and high cut bottoms. Remember how high cut the bottoms?
I had the cutouts. I had circles.
So they were huge in the 80s because everybody was so obsessed with tanning. You were tanning more of your body. Wait, I can't. Panama Jack tanning oil.
Panama Jack was
huge. With SPF.
Huge.
SPF 4.
Yep. Why even bother?
And Banana Boat tanning oil. SPF 2.
Yep.
And Hawaiian Tropic tanning oil.
Yes.
Were everywhere. You could not go anywhere without seeing Panama Jack, Hawaiian
smelled so goddamn good.
Oh my God. It was just the smell of summer.
Yeah, it was. I still smell coconut. I'm like, summertime!
If someone has anything on, I'm like, you smell like tanning oil.
That should be a perfume.
It should. People use the aluminum foil to help direct the sun rays directly onto their burning flesh. Bain de Soleil
Oh my
for
God.
the tan accelerator.
Yep.
Vandaselect. Do you remember that?
This is when Sun was big too.
Yes. People would burn. They would have blisters. People would walk around with like they're just the skin hanging off.
You'd
their
be
face.
shedding. You'd be shedding like a weirdo.
We went to this thing every summer, and like 1 million of us went down for the week. And there was this older boy. I remember this vividly. There was this older kid there, and he was like chatting me up the whole time. And I was like, oh, he's so old. He's so cute. This kid had such a sunburn. If he doesn't have melanoma now, I remember his sunburn on his face. Like, it was like Garrett, but 1,000 times worse. It was the skin coming off of that kid's face all week. And I still thought, well, he's older and, you know.
Well, you know, when you peeled like that, it gave you something to do when you were watching Dynasty of Dallas.
Right,
you could just peel off your skin for hours, you know.
You couldn't lie on your sheets. You couldn't see
your
t-shirt.
It hurt.
It literally felt like it was melting into your body.
And it just radiated. It was like throbbing heat on your skin.
Scalding hot. It was awful.
Yeah.
But then you'd be cold, so you'd want something on, but you couldn't because it... but we now know
that's bad.
your skin tone, you need to wear SPF daily.
Yeah.
Never mind in just the summer. You should wear it all the time. Year long. Limit your sun exposure, especially between 10 and 2.
Which is exactly when I'm in the sun.
Yeah. Cover up. Wear a hat.
As I'm baking in the sun. Yeah.
Yes. We put our hats on
I'm like
today.
a lizard. I love the feel of sun.
I do too. I love it. Not good for me, but I love it. I was saying to someone the other day, one of those stupid things on Snapchat, like one of the filters has like freckles on it. And I was like,
I remember saw that.
Oh, my freckles. I used to have freckles straight, which again, not good. Yeah. Sun damage. Since I was little, I would have freckles across my nose, right under my eyes, like across my cheeks. And then my oldest son would have the same thing, like the freckles right under his cheeks, across his nose. I thought they were like, I loved it. Like, I think they're so cute.
Well, if you go, they have that guy who developed that box you put your face in, and it shows you how much sun damage you have. And
it's all those spots are
every spot. And then the thing is, like, when you're in your 20s, you don't see those spots. When you're in your 40s, they all come out. When you're in your 60s, you look like a Dalmatian. Yeah. Like, it's bad.
It's going to be bad.
It's bad.
Because I had tons of freckles. My back. Forget it.
I have a ton. Because I'm not...
shoulders.
I'm not the best. I do Botox inside, and I preach to my clients to wear sunscreen, do this, but I'll do my face. I still do my face, and I'll do my chest because I fry. No matter what, I'll always fry my chest. But do I put it around? Not necessarily. I might do my back. Depends, you know.
I do it everywhere, but I still...
Well, you're a lot lighter than I am, too.
I am a lot lighter.
But we're looking golden bronze today.
I'm feeling pretty bronze. But that's it. Please put sunscreen on. Wear SPF. It doesn't matter how dark you are. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. Put sunscreen on. The sun hurts no matter if you see a burn or not.
And you know what? For all of you 80s kids out there that remember all the stuff that we just talked about, write in. Tell us about your 80s, best 80s memories, because I you know, when I was a kid in the 80s, my mother would talk about her childhood, which was the 50s. And she might as well have been saying the 1850s for all I was care. And I think just that decade where you're like, I don't know, 5 to like 15, those are the best years of your life, no matter what decade it is. Right. You just, if you have a good childhood, you're going to think that was the best decade ever. Right. So the 80s for us. And I love the 80s. I love the music. Duran Duran was king. Culture Club. I mean, do we want to go deep with all the great bands of the 80s? And then we got the heavy metal bands. And I just loved the 80s. So you get good memories of the 80s. Write us in your 80s stories. Would love to hear them. Would love to see what you have to say. Yeah. So that is going to kick off the world-renowned, ever-famous, everybody wants part of the summer series for Scissors and Scrubs. We've got some maulings coming up at some point, I think. I don't know if we're talking... we got some good stuff coming up. We're never going to tell you because we always wind up changing it.
I know.
But be safe. Stay out of pickups. Drink from the hose. Nobody gives a shit.
No, do not.
Do wear your sunscreen. Stay out of the quarries. Don't go spelunking through mines. There's no reason to go through an empty mine.
Oh, God almighty, no. What is
And if the pool is murky, there could be a body at the bottom. Don't go in the pool. Stay out of the communal pools. They're gross.
Listen, I'm an MDC girl.
Yes, but I think it was not as gross back then. I don't know.
They weren't really great.
It's gross.
But
I don't want to share a pool with that many people.
I don't either. I mean, now the thought of it, I want to die. It's gross.
Though, remember when Canterbury Lake had that big pool?
I never went in it. We
never did, but imagine how many people went in that pool.
I can't.
It had a diving board.
Because after 5 o'clock, it was cheaper.
Yeah.
So we went at night.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. We had a blast.
You know?
Yep.
The 80s were the best. Canterbury Lake, still love that park. So be safe, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Good night.
Bye.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review the Scissors and Scrubs
podcast on whatever podcast app you listen to us on. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at scissorsnscrubs. And email us any of your stories or thoughts to scissorsnscrubs@gmail.com.